So, unfortunately...
It didn't matter, Tony, in all honesty.
Didn't really matter, no, he wasn't. He was one too many anyway, wasn't he? Look at that back nine. Not a single birdie. And a bogey on the par 5 10th.
It's a shame. There's been some good signs with his golf swing and some nice runs of play from Schwab. He's seemingly closing in on better play. You know, it's such a brilliant year, so consistent last year. I think it was 11 top 10s or something, but it's just not happening right now.
Nerves will be jangling here. Ross McGowan and his caddy and ahhing on what to do on this putt. I can tell you, it's downhill, it's rapid. It's going to be moving off his right. He's barely got to touch this. I mean, really unfortunate not to be closer to the hole. He should have come further back.
Yeah, the hard thing about this, John, is he can't be aggressive with it, can he?
Well, he can't be aggressive, no. I mean, but then he's at 4 under par. Rowie, it's got to go in. But what do you do? Do you go more at it, like right edge and firm?
Yeah, you don't know. In his mind, he might think 4 under might sneak in. You just don't know. Well, the putter was golden in Italy. Oh, and it's golden here as well. So for Ross McGowan, a wonderful birdie at the 18th. But the dream is alive. I mean, he's in. That's it. Well done to Ross, and who knows now at the weekend?
I mean, there could be the eventual winner. And the nice thing about Ross is, you know, if that putt had missed, he would have still been smiling. David Drysdale. Yes. Exactly what the doctor ordered. Beautiful tee shot, beautiful putt, 3 under. Closing in on that cut mark.
Back up to 18. No problem of McIntyre making the weekend. He has this to get to 10 under.
Just the pace. Just the pace kept it out. Do you know what I'm really enjoying already about this format is we'd never focus so much ever on the cut line in a normal event. And yet we're almost just sort of, okay, he's through, he's 10 under, he's 9 under. Let's get back and look who's really on the bubble.
And all because the scores are reset tomorrow, so it doesn't really matter what you're lying on. You could be James Morrison at 11 under par, you could be Ross McGowan at 5 under par. You've got the same chance tomorrow as those scores go back to 0. Off you.
Joost Luiten safely in to the top 32. He's got a stress-free second shot into 18 and comes up with an absolute ripper. Tap-in eagle.
Do you know, I think he's one of the guys who's had an albatross on the European Tour before. I'm sure our stats people will be able to confirm that or otherwise. But that wasn't far away from a 2 on a par 5. 6 times a European Tour win. A couple of years since he won. 2018 in Oman.
Jack Senior. 3 under, 2 to go. Like so many others in this situation, birdie would be... it would have been gold. Probably needs an eagle up the last, but it was a fantastic try.
F. Oscar Hugo, his wife, his son, and certainly one of his dogs, Hugo, the Alsatian, the German Shepherd. Stolter makes another one. Well done him. He really is having a good day out there. Hole in one, 2 birdies, 4 under par, both for the championship and today. This has got to go in for Hao Tong Lee at 18.
That's a pretty good try, isn't it? Off that awkward lie on the upslope in the Bermuda. You never know, though. Take your time. You just never know. Wind gets up. It could still be 4. We think 5, but it could be 4.
Pavon to get to 5 under at 17. birdie at the last, or better. Will be good enough. Little shake of the head. He knows that was a good chance. Oh dear, I don't like the look of that at all. There's some rain over there, isn't there? And dark clouds circling us here at Aphrodite Hills.
Yeah, I took a close look at the forecast this morning, Dom, and I didn't see any of that forecast.
Well, this is supposed to be Aphrodite country, not Thor, is it?
Yeah, that looks ugly. It might just be a passing hit of heavy rain, and then it'll move along.
It's a beautiful backdrop, isn't it, to the sunshine and the beauty of the golf course, but the players won't be happy looking and seeing that. Oh, look at that. What a stylish golf shot. Absolute gimme birdie 3 for last week's champion. It's amazing what confidence does to your game, isn't it?
Huge, isn't it? Confidence, self-belief. Jamie Donaldson, perfect tee shot, iron off the tee, asking it to bounce left.
Nice bounce.
Gets a bit of help. Ooh, that's not so nice.
And we are hearing that the hooter, apparently the siren, has just sounded, and play here at the Aphrodite Hills Cyprus Showdown, I'm afraid, has been suspended because of the threat of lightning. It's been chopping and changing the forecast throughout the week. At one stage they looked absolutely fine, and then woke up this morning and all of a sudden we had this in the forecast, and it has come in. It's just about 1:30.
So this for the eagle. Cozied down to the hole side. Had a good chance to win at the Cyprus Open last week. Unfortunately finished the par 5 not in style. He knocked it in the water twice on the 72nd hole. It's a little bit costly, but he took it in his stride, like he takes everything in his stride. A great attitude.
Yes, and always enjoy watching this hole. Although I would suspect Ninapa will be not overly happy where he's left it. Got a fair bit of break here as it goes down and across the slope left to right.
He really does give those putts a belt, doesn't he? Not afraid of the comeback at 20 years of age.
Nacho Elvira. Awkward lie on an upside slope out the rough to 14. Yeah, waving his hand, indicating that it's come out with a bit of a strange flyer.
Toughest hole on the course, number 16. From that back to the 7th, and Hao Tong Lee with a chance.
And a pretty good chance as well, Dom, because he's going to come uphill across the slope right to left, so he can be a bit more aggressive.
And just seemed to straighten, didn't it, the last 3 feet or so.
Bjork also missing his birdie. I don't think there's any doubt that this powerful wind and the fast greens are making it very tough to read these greens. Look at those bushes in the canyon there, really blowing about.
Didn't turn, McIntyre didn't turn as much as he thought. Now did Hao Tong Lee. That didn't move much, did it?
No, pretty straight for Luiten, so back to 1 over. First birdie of the day for the Dutchman.
Well, here we go. This is what it's all about. We're at 8, wind off the right. He's got the driver out. No, sending it up the right bunker. Let the wind do the rest. And even actually got a yardage for this. Didn't ride it down. Well, I know it's over 300 yards. This one heading left, boys.
If it works, and you knock it on the green, you think happy days, that was worth being brave, but it can go radically wrong.
And it has. That was a big risk to take.
So he's switched back to an iron for his provisional ball, Matthias Schwab. The gamble didn't pay off.
Yeah, and a spot of bother there, Dom. Aiming down the right-hand side now. 2 layers this fairway.
Now, it looks like a long way right, but it's actually okay because there's a plateau high up there. That will just kick on down and hopefully stay on the top portion. Then you have a slightly flatter lie. But a strange choice from the tee.
I don't think it's worth it, Robbie. You know, if it was a case of laying up and going in with a 3-iron, maybe. But you lay up and it's a little wedge. Not worth it. Wearing. Oh, that's come out hot. Out the rough and downwind, it's just zinged over the back. I've had 8 today. I don't know how many have had it go. It's just too dangerous.
That's the way to play the hole, isn't it? Iron down the bottom, rely on your wedge game. That's super play from the Italian Open champion, 2020. That will sound so good to Ross McGowan every time he hears that.
Wearing over the back, but he's back into the wind. He's got a bit of green to work with. Lie looks okay. And that also has come out hot.
Back to 8, 4th shot now for Matthias Schwab, having hit it out of bounds with his first drive.
Well, 90 yards for Robert McIntyre, sitting pretty just on the edge of the fairway. Nearly ran out of room. Perfect iron off the tee. Now, a nice little low one. Wind down.
Such great commitment, even though it's only a short shot. That's how he gets that spin and control, and another exemplary effort. I love watching him pitch the golf ball.
Romain Langasque opting to putt it through the Bermuda fringe, and it's very hard to, you can't guarantee direction. You might be able to handle the pace, but you know it's going to bobble and bounce a little.
Well, 8th tee does pose a problem for the players, but I think the sensible one is to lay up short of the right-hand bunkers at 250. Trying to go at this green with bushes left and bushes right and a hog's back green. Really not ideal.
Stay right.
Got a quick kick on quite hard down the left side there, being the Bermuda at the base of the slope.
Warren, I think this is the sort of hole in the practice rounds you would think, okay, if I hit iron off here 10 times, how many times will I birdie it? Okay, maybe 6. If I go with driver, you know, I might make a couple of birdies, but inevitably I'm going to make a couple of big numbers. It's not worth it. And I know this young man was hitting driver last week, and he's going with the iron now.
In the end, this game, you've got to play the odds.
Just a little three-quarter flick, but this is going left again. If it hits the slope, it gets quite an aggressive bounce, you see. So now you're in the Bermuda at the bottom of the hill. It depends on your lie, and you've just lost control. The spin that McIntyre had was because he was in the fairway.
Schwab for a bogey. Oh, that's a good bogey. Oh, that's great damage control.
Birdie with the second ball.
There you go.
It's funny because I would have had him as quite a good course manager. I'd have had him as a guy who makes a lot of sensible decisions out there. That's certainly what we saw last year.
But you see, that's this format, and that's where it's so interesting, is at level par, and he's suddenly starting to think, cracky, I've got to put my foot down just a little bit. Maybe this is an opportunity to do that. Now, for wearing his chip was to blame there. In the Bermuda behind the green, and tried to spin it. You heard him say it didn't quite get the spin that I wanted it to. And I believe, Tony, that this Bermuda grass, you never try and play for spin or expect spin. Never.
No, because sometimes it might and sometimes it might not. And that is beautifully rolled by Robert McIntyre. Absolutely dead centre.
2 birdies in the last 3 holes for the Scot. He moves to within 3 of the lead. Here's the man who's out in front, Elvira, at the 15th, the par 3. Big elevation fall from tee to green, swirling wind.
It's a bit like the Bermuda Triangle on this golf course when you get to these holes. Hard to work the wind out. Yeah. Very tough par 3. And then a very tough par 4, 16 as well. The 2 toughest holes over the whole week of the first week here in Cyprus, and proving to be again the same.
McGowan for birdie at 8. Yep. Putter has warmed up once again, as it did in Italy.
And there's a point to be made there. All 3, when they've hit iron off the tee, have made birdies. Schwab made the equivalent of a birdie with his second ball. Let's go to 10. And Ollie Fisher.
So Ollie gets himself under par on the day with that birdie at the 10th.
Another player who didn't play last week in the Aphrodite Hills Cyprus Open, but he's here for the showdown version. The man who...
She had the hots for Adonis. Can't blame her. Tony Johnston is our Adonis in the commentary box.
Oh, stop it. Lee. Birdie putt. Needs to start making some headway now, Hartong Lee. Par or over par is not going to do it. Just lost his confidence and lost his way a bit with his game, Hartong Lee.
Yeah, you wonder with Hartong Lee if he did make changes he didn't need to make, and now he's gone back to his old coach and trying to find his old swing back again. I say Jamie Goff is an excellent coach. I think he'll do that job, and I don't think it'll be too long before Hartong finds that confidence he needs.
But you do wonder what the guys go searching for. You're top 30 in the world, you're winning tournaments, and I'll have a complete change. Why?
Well, Robert McIntyre is 3 under par, making his way down the 9th hole, and he is talking to Tim.
Robert, 3 under par through 8 holes is good going. I'm told the highlight was the second shot to 2 out of a divot by our on-course man, John Morgan. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, I decided to hit 2 iron up there instead of 3 wood, and hit it great right down the middle, got up there, and it's in a serious divot. I mean, I was glad that it wasn't in a seeded divot, because I'm not the best out of them, so...
in his age. Nice to hear from Robert McIntyre there. Nina, but at the 8th for his birdie, and that is heavy-handed.
Well, Ravi, he has absolutely ripped every first putt. You know, you've only got to miss a couple of those on the returns before you'll stop doing that.
It is a bogey at 15 for the leader. So now 7 tied at 5 under par as Nacho drops one.
Yeah, first bogey of the day for the Spaniard to Luiten, up the hill for the 3 at 8 to get back to level par as well.
He's another player that is struggling to find his best form. He's not chipping well. Doesn't seem like he's confident on the greens. We all know that feeling. If you've played golf over any period of time on the European Tour, played golf for a living, you know how much it comes and goes and how quickly it can turn around once again.
Yeah, Mateo Swab here in the spot of bother. Ball stuck up in the bush, taken an unplayable. Now he's got to thread it through the eye of a needle between tree and bush. Very fortunate to find it. 2 guys, ball spotters down the left-hand side, just came past their nose by a whisker straight into the bush, so seen it firsthand.
You see how close he is to the out of bounds there as well. The stake just behind him, white stake.
Yeah, it would have been OB if that had missed the bush. It would have kicked left and gone out of bounds. I mean, stunning view here online, and it's a different wind today. It really is online, because you know it was more across with the tee shot, but it's straight into the teeth of the wind for the tee shot, so playing very much more difficult. Now he's got to move this one massively from left to right, thread it through under the tree.
Well, he made a remarkable bogey on the 8th hole, the previous hole, after hitting it in trouble and losing the ball. Be another remarkable bogey there, could he make one.
Nienaber, return putt for his par at 8. And you might just see him be a little less aggressive with his longer putts hereafter.
Back up to 9, Ross McGowan.
Yeah, 210 yards here, Dom, out of a bad lie. Downslope, got to get it up. I think he's going for the long runner.
See the ball come out dipping and straight right there. And that was just purely because of the lie. He's not a strong, powerful player. He's a player with more sort of a finesse game. And as soon as he saw the lie there, I think he knew he couldn't reach.
Wait till he sees the chip that's facing him. Oh dear, oh dear.
Don't like to mention it, but I had a 9-iron in there the other day. Nicholas Lemke for birdie at 10.
I remember that, Dom. It was your 4th shot, wasn't it?
No, stop it. To McIntyre. 153 yards to go.
Yeah, 153 here, Dom. 137. That was a 2-iron he hit off that tee. I can't believe how far he's hit that. It's over 280 yards into that strong wind.
I spoke to his friend Connor Syme. I watched a couple of holes with him the other day, and we talked about Robert and his game, and he says he can just sort of plod along and he looks like he's reasonably long, and he said he has another gear to switch, especially with the drive, where all of a sudden he can find an extra 30 yards. And he's not a big lad, so what an asset that is. And he was so full of praise, Connor Syme, for Robert McIntyre and the way he played the game of golf. And I tell you what, Connor Syme, what I saw, he can play as well.
There's a lot of good young Scots coming through. We've seen Grant Forrest, we've seen Callum Hill, 1 or 2 others as well out there. Ewan Ferguson. They've got a nice little sort of band of brothers who are starting to make their way on the European Tour. And McIntyre, certainly a special talent. There he is amongst the 3 unders. So at the moment, cruising towards Saturday's play. Top 32 player. And
yeah, I mean, that Italian Open victory for Ross McGowan a few weeks ago really hinged on the way he played the 16th hole. An amazing bunker shot that he holed from a very difficult spot on the left side, high above the flag and straight downhill. That was his shot of the week, and Well, in the end, he won by 1 shot. Those are the moments you look back on.
Fair bit of break in this for McIntyre. Left to right, down the hill. And sometimes it's just hard to make yourself hit it as high as you know you should.
Changing the rules of golf in the last couple of years that have allowed you now to tap down any thin spike marks, any little indentations on your line. Been a good change, I think, that one, Tony.
Yeah, it was just slightly overdue by about probably 50 years.
Well, looking straight down this putt, downhill, pretty fast putt this one, but it's into the breeze, breaking off the right, coming through the fringe. What is it going to do the first couple of feet? I don't know.
Yeah, that's so unlucky, isn't it? That flag actually looks like it might be leaning slightly towards him, although on that angle maybe not. That's really unlucky. Two really poor holes and a massive backward step, and now it's like climbing the south face of the Eiger now, especially in this format where it's not a normal cut of 65 and ties. You're going down to 32 and ties.
Oh, that's a horrible 4 holes, isn't it?
And what a difference a year makes, Tony, from the brilliance of the golf he played last year.
It's the nature of the sport, isn't it? I mean, you know what a difference a week can make in this game. You can go from being a complete dog, and a week later you can be a god. And vice versa.
It's just reverse the letters.
Absolutely. It's just, you know, if you try and work it out, you will drive yourself completely insane. This for a par for Ross McGowan to stay in the red numbers. Yeah, those were all dropping 2 weeks ago. And unfortunately, we're just hearing that Wilco Nienaber has knocked it out of bounds off the tee. We'll get back to him.
Unmistakable Joel Shoholm with the +2s. And the lovely tartan socks.
Now, Rowie, you're a bit of a golf historian. The difference between +2s and +4s?
About 2 inches.
Is that all it is? Okay.
McIntyre to tidy up for his par, no problems at all. And this week on the European Tour, we are breaking new ground with this.
And I played with John Morgan on Monday, and if any of these guys hits it as far as you did, Morgie, I'll be astonished.
You're too kind, Rowie. But it's a different baby today, this 10th. It's into the breeze, slightly off the left-hand side. So to get it over that, well, to pitch it over the path is a big hit, 305 yards.
So the left arm up, signalling it's over there somewhere.
Hit the path with a second bounce.
Well, he's told us what John Morgan would probably have told us. It's
Yeah.
hit the path.
Just missed the bush there, Rowie. So be counting his lucky stars.
Morgie, I thought it was very nice of Mark not to mention your next shot into this hole.
Yeah, well, it was a flush 6-iron straight out the hosel. I must admit, I was using Callum Shinkwin's clubs and Nicholas Colsart's a bit too stiff for me.
It'll be 2 of Ross McGowan's very best hits to get anywhere near this, and he's not going to get up now because he's whiffed it over to the right-hand side. One hole further back on the golf course, Wilco Nienaber's got all sorts of problems here at 9. He's hit it out of bounds from the tee. Tony, I'm going to let you describe what's going on there with his short game. I'm not convinced by the way he's playing these lob shots at all.
No, I would agree. I think he gets way too long in the backswing. And then, you know, you've got to... Well, you're either going to decelerate or you're going to have to do something different with your hands, but on the back foot, trying to help it up in the air, not convincing.
Well, he's hanging back on everything, Tony. You don't hang back on it. You open the club face and you move forwards. You don't hang back.
There was a better example of how to do it from Nacho Elvira.
Well, they've really struggled on this hole, haven't they? And not too easy for Haotong here either, coming down the slope, left to right. Wind also downhill, so this is one of those you just roll it up and hope. If it goes in, that's a bonus.
Settle. And that was just pure and simply a misjudgment. It wasn't even downwind, so he wasn't getting any help from the breeze. Callum Hill finds the fairway at 13 and takes dead aim. What a beautiful approach shot that is. Great distance control.
3 times a winner on the Challenge Tour, Callum Hill. Earned him his promotion to the European Tour. It's his rookie season. Important putt here for Nina, but this is for a double bogey 6.
He had a 78 in round 3 last week. So clearly there's a massive inconsistency in the game.
Maronk at 18. Eagle putt down the hill. So many guys leave this short, and he's done the same. We saw exactly the same thing last week to that pin position. Probably 9 out of 10 guys failed to get it up to the hole.
It's because they stand above it, Tony, isn't it? And actually it is downhill, but then at the hole it very sneakily goes slightly back uphill.
Par putt for Haotong Lee at the 9th. My word, this hole has caused some problems, hasn't it?
They're dragging each other backwards right now. And it's just a slight switch in the wind direction that's causing the problems off the tee. I saw him at breakfast this morning. I don't think I've ever seen anybody have so many fried eggs and bacon, and it was just a monstrous pile on his plate. And I think the problem is it hasn't digested yet.
And might not for a week. Luiten, can he make his par? Pop this in and have a scorching back 9. He needs it. Well done. Too early to panic, and he won't.
No, they've got another day tomorrow, of course, which is, I think, a nice part of this this format.
It's a birdie at the par 5 10th for Alexander Bjork. So he moves it to 2 under par and gets inside the cut line. Remember, 32 and ties, not the normal 65 and ties. Will make it through to Saturday's play in this showdown format. First ever time we've seen it on the European Tour. 7 players, no fewer, are tied for the lead at 5 under par.